AI opens kind of its own set of ethical issues that needs to be addressed. AI is an incredible tool that allows marketers, in particular, to develop content at scale rapidly that is hyper-personalized and individualized, which is potentially incredibly powerful, but the machines don't have it quite right yet.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Shari Reichenberg, Managing Director at RAPP New York. Shari, great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
First off, congrats on the new role.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about RAPP and what makes you distinct in the marketplace.
RAPP is an agency that is entirely focused on the individual. And I think in this day and age, that has become more important to modern CMOs than ever, right? Brands need to be building relationships with individuals at scale. They need to be relevant and meaningful to prospects and customers from the very beginning. And given that every individual has different barriers, drivers, motives, triggers, starting points for the way that they perceive the world, that relationship has to be different, between the brand and each of those individuals. So being about the individual means thinking about personalization at scale. It means thinking about building relevant and meaningful customer experiences at scale. It means helping brands think about customer centricity and putting individuals at the heart of everything they do. And from a cultural standpoint, it also means that RAPP thinks about our individuals as human beings whose diverse opinions can really help to make us a better agency.
I was really curious. You have, in fact, some proprietary quantitative research that you've done, the CXM Study, that underpins a lot of the work that you just talked about. Tell us a little bit about that and some of its findings.
The CXM Study is a proprietary study, qualitative and quantitative, done every year. And the findings of the CXM Study underpin our customer journey approach, which is called the affinity loop. So every agency will have, an approach to building a customer decision journey. The affinity loop is our way of really identifying those moments that truly matter to individuals as they go along their path to purchase, and helps to really reveal the interesting and maybe unexpected ways in which a brand can engage with customers or prospects at those important moments in a way that's going to be meaningful and relevant and persuasive and helpful to those customers. So CXM is incredibly important to everything that we do.
You mentioned personalization at scale, and that's long been the holy grail of marketing. How do you go about doing that for clients, and what makes you successful in doing that?
So first of all, personalization at scale is critical, and we've evolved our approach to content so that the right content can be developed for different individuals and be delivered in the right place, through the right channel, at the right time, and so on and so forth. A lot of that now is AI-driven, and we see more and more clients who are asking us to really help them create a system for dynamic and modular content that can be automatically created, for any individual, based on what we can perceive, about that individual and what we think is going to be relevant and important to them at that time. The other point about personalization at scale that's important is that it's starting to become table stakes in the sense that it shouldn't just be about delivering a message, delivering an ad, about communications at scale, but really more about experiences and interaction points beyond just an ad or a message that can create true customer intimacy. And so I think the next frontier, and something that RAPP is starting to become very good at, is thinking about how to create experiences and intimacy at scale, something that sounds kind of oxymoronic, but is actually really driving behavior change for our brands. Expanding our thinking beyond what's the message that's going to sell into what is the moment that is going to create affinity or true, a true relationship with a customer, and then being really creative and thoughtful about how to do that, again, at scale or for everybody in their own way.
How have you seen, sort of these individualized customer experiences evolve over the years?
This kind of began, and digital marketing really began with, in the old days, just kind of putting an ad that was meant for an offline channel onto an online channel. And then over time, as data proliferated and targeting capabilities became more sophisticated, personalization at scale really just started to mean delivering the right piece of communication through the right channel and to the right person at the right time. That's really kind of become table stakes today. Dynamic creative optimization is something that so many partners are able to do. And thinking beyond that into experiences, once upon a time that was chat, right? And having individualized, personalized kind of chat. It's become biometrics, right? And personalized health experiences and recommendations tailored just for you, to keep you healthy. Experiences are really kind of the next frontier, with health being an important piece of that for personalization at scale.
So data can be a little bit scary for customers. How do you ensure when you work with clients that in fact their needs are met and you allay some of those fears that they may have?
Yeah, no, that's a really important question, especially for RAPP, especially here in this day and age. RAPP takes data ethics and privacy really seriously, and one of the first things that we do with our clients, and an emerging trend that we see kind of across the board, is putting data privacy at the center of everything we do. When we start with privacy, with ethics, with opt-in, with clarity and transparency on what an individual is agreeing to or is going to be offering up, and we build out experiences and capabilities from there, we see not only a lot more comfort with the individual and a willingness to opt in, but because of that, a more successful experience that we create. We'll tend to think about experiences that increase in personalization over time as an individual becomes more engaged with a brand and starts to see the value exchange that a brand can offer back to them in exchange for a clear set of defined data that we offer, that they're offering up to us. As they continue to offer more, the brands are able to offer more back. This process of deepening relationships over time and not just starting by taking everything knowingly or unknowingly from customers is incredibly important. So privacy at the center of the design is critical.
As we go down the values thing, RAPP is, kind of an unusual agency, right? With your commitment to diversity and the culture that you've been able to create. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, some of the things that you're doing to celebrate the individual employee at RAPP.
Yes, RAPP is all about the individual, and we're really proud of the way that translates to the way that we think about our talent and the experience that we want to create for them as an employer. We have, of course, a number of ERGs that cover a lot of different affiliations and affinities, and those are really robust. We participate in a number of important conferences, and we hire out of these talent pools, so such as AdColor. We participate in the 3% conference, Out and About. We participate in a lot of industry conferences, and we bring those learnings back into what we do at RAPP. Another really important thing is removing bias in the hiring process. So there's a lot of research that has identified trigger words in job descriptions that will preclude certain people from thinking that they can apply to the job, right? And so we are identifying and systematically removing that terminology from job descriptions that we're putting out there. And we're also doing blind recruiting, where we're taking away any identifiable information as we do our first screenings to make sure that hiring is fair. There are all sorts of fireside conversations that are happening regularly in the office, pulse checks on culture where people can anonymously or not anonymously, we actually have both, provide feedback as to how they're feeling about the office. And we generally are really careful to build teams, client teams that are diverse in perspective so that we don't, create myopic thinking, which is better for us, better for our clients, better for employees.
That's awesome. You're a founding member of Chief. Tell us what Chief is and some of the progress that you've made on that front.
Sure. Chief is an executive women's club. It is just a year old. It was founded in New York, and the thinking is that at a senior level, it's less about continuing to build hard skills and capabilities and more about access to opportunities for jobs, to clients, to each other. As they say, it's kind of lonely at the top, especially when you feel that you're the only, which is something that a lot of Chief members can really relate to. The number of times that I've been the only woman in a room is far too many to count. So Chief is really an awesome organization that I'm proud to be a part of. They create core groups of 10 or 12 women who are relatively similarly situated in life and in their career. We meet every 6 or 8 weeks with an executive coach and kind of think about various situations, but there's also incredible workshops, speakers, social events just to kind of facilitate that networking. Chief is actually how I was connected with RAPP.
Shari, one of the questions we love asking our guests is a book, blog, or podcast that you'd like to recommend to our viewers.
I really love listening to How I Built This.
Guy Raz.
I think that if I weren't in this business, I'd be an entrepreneur, and maybe I will be someday. I'm also fortunate enough to have a number of friends who are incredible entrepreneurs who I admire a lot. But I think that I probably spend most of my time reading Harry Potter with my 7-year-old.
Thanks, Shari.
Thank you for having me.
That was Shari Reichenberg, Managing Director of RAPP New York.